Oh, how I wished I could read. Written by John Gile, illustrated by Fiorello. I awoke with a yell and sat straight up in bed, full of fear and wild worries and trouble and dread. Was it just a bad dream, or was what I feared true? Was reading a feat only others could do? In my dream, I was walking alone on the street and decided to sit down and put up my feet. I discovered too late what the wet paint sign said when the bench left my backside a bright shade of red. Then I saw a cute puppy and wanted to pet it. A sign tried to warn me I'd better forget it. But the words on the gate, "Beware of dogs," meant nothing to me, till a pack of wild dogs chased me right up a tree. I continued along on my readingless way, having no way to know what each sign had to say. I wished I could read, 'cause then I could know when danger signs warned me where I shouldn't go. A sign said no crossing, but I didn't heed it because in my dream I had no way to read it. So I stepped off the sidewalk, and oh, what a fuss! I was nearly run down by two cars and a bus. I heard honking and beeping, tires squealing and shrieking, cars crashing and smashing and scraping and screeching. The drivers were angry. One yelled, all agreed, "What's the matter with you? You should learn how to read." I jumped from the street and ran away fast, but worried about each sign that I passed. Above and beside and behind and below were instructions and warnings I needed to know. In my readingless dream, I felt angry and sad, as if I had lost a best friend, and I had. I was lost and alone and afraid as could be of the readingless troubles still waiting for me. I wandered and wondered what words I saw meant, then got stuck in the muck near a sign, "Wet cement." So I took off my shoes and sat down to clean them. Two signs blocked my way, but I sat down between them. They said poison ivy, but I didn't know, till an itchy red rash grew all over one toe. When I headed for home to get medication, I went from a bad to a worse situation. I opened the cupboard to look for toy ointment, but all that I found there was more disappointment. Each bottle and tube on the shelf had a label I needed to read, but I wasn't able. I itched and I twitched how I wished I could read. My toe was on fire from that poisonous weed. Just then I woke up from my readingless dream when my cat nipped my toe and I let out a scream. Ouch! I threw back my covers and jumped to the floor. I ran to the shelf where my books were before. Could I tell a B from a T or a Z? Or were letters just lines on the paper to me? My books told the story, as storybooks do. My dream was a nightmare completely untrue. I can read. At last it was over. At last I was freed from the night when I wished, how I wished I could read. Oh, how I wished I could read. Written by John Gile, illustrated by Fiorello. Questions to share. Number 1. What problem does the boy have in the story? Number 2. If you cannot read, what can you do so you can learn? Number 3. When you cannot read, what can you learn from the boy's mistakes? Number 4. When you cannot read or when you are young, should you get medicine or ointments by yourself?